Your life doesn't really change in a year. It changes in your morning. That's the truth nobody tells you. A year is just a collection of days, and every day is just a reflection of how you begin it. If you win the first few minutes after you open your eyes, you take back control of your entire life. But if you start your morning the wrong way, waking up late, scrolling your phone, avoiding what matters, you create a loop of stress, distraction, and frustration that keeps repeating. This is not about temporary hype that fades before lunchtime. This is about building a system, a rhythm, a structure that actually works every single day. A routine that carries you forward even when you don't feel motivated. Because motivation is temporary, but structure builds a new identity. And your identity is what shapes the rest of your life. The difference between people who live on autopilot and people who rise above is simple: how they command their mornings. That's why we start here at the very beginning of the day. This is not about being perfect. It's about setting yourself up in a way that makes progress inevitable. And it all begins with one morning, one choice, one decision to take charge. Let's begin. The alarm goes off. That's the first battle of your day. In that exact second, a decision is waiting for you. Do you rise immediately and claim your morning? Or do you hit snooze, delay, and hand the day over to weakness? That one choice, as small as it seems, defines the direction of everything that follows. Most people think the day starts when they make coffee, open their laptop, or walk out the door. Wrong. The day starts the second your eyes open. That's the moment when your mind is either ready to work for you or against you. Discipline is not some complicated formula. It's built on micro-decisions that stack up over time. And the very first one, the decision to stand up right away, is the seed of strength. Lying in bed for 5 more minutes isn't rest. It's training your brain to delay. It's teaching yourself that comfort matters more than growth. It's sending a message to your subconscious that your goals can wait. But what if they can't? What if your progress depends on what you do in that exact minute? When you rise immediately, you do more than just move your body. You declare who is in charge, you or your excuses. It doesn't matter how little sleep you got. It doesn't matter how tired you feel. What matters is that you prove to yourself that you can act with intention before the world throws distractions at you. People ask all the time, what's the secret to turning your life around? And the answer is always the same. It begins first thing in the morning. Your life doesn't improve by accident. It improves by structure. And the first structure of the day is the choice to get up without hesitation. That act of moving right away is powerful because momentum creates clarity. When you stand up, your brain gets the signal: we are not staying stuck today. We are not hiding from the work. We are moving forward. That momentum flows into everything else. It shifts you from passive to active, from waiting to building. And here's something most people overlook. It's not just physical. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. Standing up immediately strengthens your decision-making power. It sets the tone before the noise of the world crashes in. Because once you get up, you're no longer drifting, you're directing. Over time, this habit builds trust with yourself. That's what most people lack. They don't trust their own word because they break it every morning. They say they'll wake up at 6, the alarm rings at 6, and they stay in bed. That tiny broken promise compounds. It erodes confidence. Not because they don't have potential, but because their word means nothing, even to themselves. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine the alarm rings, you sit up, put your feet on the floor, and tell yourself, get moving. That's power. That's ownership. That's how you stop a slow morning from turning into a slow life. And don't just rise silently. Speak to yourself. It doesn't have to be loud, but it has to be real. Say, this is my day. I'm in charge. I decide how it goes. You're not hoping for a good day, you're commanding it. You're not waiting for motivation, you're creating movement. This is not about ease. There will be mornings when the bed feels like a trap, when your body begs you to stay. But that's the test. That's the moment when your stronger self is built. Real motivation is not about watching videos or listening to speeches. It's about doing what you said you'd do, even when you don't feel like it. Every leader, every top performer, every person you admire, they didn't start strong. They became strong through small, disciplined choices. And the very first choice each day was to rise with intention. That's the signal. That's the foundation. It only takes a second. You don't need an hour. You don't need perfect motivation. You just need to move. Because that single choice, whether you stand up or stay down, becomes the filter for the rest of your day. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings, don't hesitate. Don't negotiate. Don't lie to yourself with just 5 more minutes. Get up. Move. Prove to yourself that your future matters more than your comfort. That's where transformation begins. Your future is waiting. The first few minutes of your morning decide everything. But most people lose those minutes immediately. Why? Because the second they wake up, they grab their phone. And with that one habit, they give their attention away. Think about it. Before you even take a breath, you're already inside someone else's world. Messages, notifications, noise, distractions. You haven't even asked yourself how you feel, and you're already reacting to everything outside of you. That's not presence. That's chaos. If you want to take back control, you need one simple rule. Don't touch your phone in the morning. Sit with your thoughts instead. Give yourself 10 minutes of silence before the world takes your focus. Why does this matter? Because the world is loud. And people who never sit with their own minds stay stuck forever. They don't know what they feel. They don't know what they want. They're too busy drowning in other people's opinions to hear their own truth. But when you sit quietly, you create space. Space for clarity. Space for honesty. Space for direction. That's when you can ask the questions that actually shape your life. How do I feel today? What matters most? What am I avoiding? What do I need to focus on? These questions sound simple, but they are life-defining. And you can't answer them if your brain is already flooded with news, feeds, and noise. Picking up your phone first thing trains your mind to react instead of choose. That one habit turns into a cycle of distraction. But leaving it aside for a few minutes trains your mind to lead. It trains you to choose. This silence isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about checking in with yourself before you check in with anyone else. It's about leading your mind instead of letting the world hijack it. Because here's the truth. If you don't give your thoughts space in the morning, you'll spend the whole day running from them. And running from yourself is a race you never win. So sit, breathe, listen, create space. Protect the first few minutes of your day as if your future depends on it. Because it does. Most people wake up carrying feelings they never deal with. They smile on the outside but drag around a heaviness inside that no one else sees. They rush into their routine pretending everything's fine, while deep down they're tired, frustrated, or lost. And because they never face those emotions, they pile up, day after day, week after week, until the weight becomes unbearable. The truth is, you don't need to hide your emotions to be strong. Real strength comes from being honest with yourself first. And one of the most powerful ways to practice that honesty every morning is simple. Write how you feel without trying to fix it. Grab a notebook, open a blank page, and write. Not for anyone else, not for Instagram, not to impress, not to be poetic. Just raw, real words about how you feel in that exact moment. No filter, no judgment, no pressure to solve anything. If you're angry, write, I'm angry. If you're tired, write, I feel drained. If you're confused, write, I don't know what's happening inside me. If you feel nothing, write, I feel numb. That honesty matters more than trying to look perfect. Because what you don't face will control you, and what you don't name will keep spinning in your head until you deal with it. Most people have been taught to run from emotions. Stay positive. Cheer up. Don't think about it. But that doesn't build strength. That builds denial. In real life, you will get hurt, you will get tired, you will feel overwhelmed. Pretending it doesn't exist only makes it worse. Writing your feelings without trying to fix them isn't weakness. It's ownership. It's saying, I'm not afraid to face my truth. I'm not running from my emotions. I'm going to sit with them until I understand them. That's where growth starts. Not in avoiding your feelings, but in facing them without panic. And here's the beauty. Once your emotions are on paper, they stop spinning inside your head. You see them clearly. You separate yourself from them. You realize, I am not my emotions. I'm the person observing them. That small shift changes everything. You gain control. You gain clarity. You stop being a victim to your thoughts. Don't worry about writing perfectly. You're not here to be a writer. You're here to be real. Even if it's just one sentence. Even if it's messy. Even if it doesn't make sense. Just write. Some mornings you'll feel relief immediately. Other days you'll still feel heavy. That's okay. The point isn't to feel good instantly. The point is to face what's real. And the more you practice, the more you'll notice patterns. You'll see the same fears returning. The same frustrations repeating. The same triggers showing up. That's not random, that's insight. And once you see the pattern, you know exactly what needs to change. This habit also builds self-respect. Because when you sit down and write honestly, you're showing yourself that you matter. You're proving that your feelings deserve space. That you don't have to hide or lie about how you feel just to keep going. That honesty builds trust. And trust with yourself is the foundation of confidence. Sometimes the act of writing itself is enough. You'll write, I feel overwhelmed. And by the time you finish the sentence, the pressure will already feel lighter. Not because the situation changed, but because you gave the feeling permission to exist outside your head. You named it, and once it has a name, it loses some of its power. That's how you stop your emotions from controlling you, not by avoiding them, but by giving them space, by putting them on paper, by letting them breathe. And here's the secret most people miss. Your journal doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be real. Because truth heals. Pretending never does. Every morning, take 5 minutes. Sit down. Write your truth. Don't fix it. Don't filter it. Don't hide it. Just be real. That's how emotional strength is built. That's how self-respect grows. That's how you start walking into your day lighter, calmer, clearer. Every morning you wake up with limited energy. No matter who you are, you can't do everything. You can't say yes to every task, every call, every distraction, and still give your best to what really matters. But most people live as if they can. They wake up, rush into their routine, and get caught in busyness without direction. By the end of the day, they're exhausted, but they don't feel fulfilled. Why? Because they never ask themselves one simple question. What matters most to me today? This question is the filter that separates people who drift from people who grow. It's the line between movement and progress, between being busy and being effective. If you don't stop to ask, the world will decide for you. Other people's priorities will steal your time. Noise will consume your focus, and you'll spend the day reacting instead of building. But when you take a moment each morning to ask, what matters most today? Everything changes. Suddenly, you're not chasing urgency. You're living on purpose. You're not scattering your energy, you're aligning it. And here's the truth. What matters most will look different every day. Sometimes it will be your health. Sometimes it will be your work. Sometimes it will be your relationships. Sometimes it will even be rest. The point isn't what the answer is. The point is that you choose it with honesty. You decide. You lead yourself. This habit doesn't require an hour-long reflection. It takes 2 minutes. Quiet pause. A breath. A decision. But that decision changes everything. Because when you know what matters, you also know what doesn't. That clarity allows you to say no without guilt, to cut distractions without hesitation, to focus your energy where it actually counts. Without this question, you'll confuse activity with achievement. You'll feel busy but empty. With this question, you'll feel directed, grounded, and intentional. That's the difference between living on autopilot and living on purpose. So tomorrow morning, before the world pulls you into chaos, pause. Sit with yourself. Ask honestly, what matters most to me today? Listen to the answer. Then let it guide you. That single question can save you from wasting another day. Can realign your life one morning at a time. At some point, you have to stop waiting. Waiting for someone to push you. Waiting for someone to motivate you. Waiting for someone to hand you a perfect opportunity. That waiting is a trap, and it keeps people stuck for years. The truth is raw but freeing. Nobody else is going to do it for you. No mentor, no friend, no parent, no boss, no partner can live your life in your place. They can guide you, they can encourage you, they can even cheer you on, but they can't take the steps for you. They can't fight your battles. They can't build your habits. They can't carry your discipline. When you wake up in the morning, you have to remind yourself, this is my responsibility. This is my job. This is my life to shape. Most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they keep hoping someone else will take the lead. They wait for easier conditions. They wait for recognition. They wait for someone to pull them forward. But life doesn't work like that. The ones who succeed are the ones who stop waiting and start moving, even when no one is watching. You have to build the habit of showing up for yourself when it's quiet, when there's no applause, when there's no guarantee, when the world seems indifferent. That's the test. That's what separates the people who change their lives from the people who keep repeating excuses. Every morning, the first voice in your head needs to be your own. And it needs to be strong enough to remind you, everything I want is my responsibility to go after. If you want health, you have to earn it. If you want confidence, you have to build it. If you want direction, you have to find it. Nobody is handing it to you. This is not bad news. It's good news, because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You don't need permission. You don't need luck. You don't need someone else to validate you. You just need to move, step by step, with or without applause, with or without motivation, with or without perfect conditions. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who had the most support. They're the ones who decided, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not depending on luck. I'm not hoping someone notices my potential. I'm going to do it myself. That decision shifts everything. Because once you take full responsibility, you gain full power. Every single day you face a choice. Move toward the life you want or drift further away. And here's the truth. If you're not moving, you're drifting. If you're not taking action, you're settling. The steps don't need to be massive, but they need to be yours. Nobody else can do the push-ups. Nobody else can write the page. Nobody else can face the truth you've been avoiding. And yes, it won't always feel fair. You'll have days when you feel exhausted, when you want to give up, when you wish someone else would carry the weight. But those are the days that build you. That's where strength is formed. Because when you keep going anyway, when you move even in silence, you're not just surviving, you're becoming unstoppable. Wishing won't change you. Complaining won't build habits. Hoping won't move you forward. Only action will. And that action begins with a mindset. No one else will do it for me, so I will. That mindset eliminates excuses. It ends blame. It forces you to face yourself. And once you fully accept it, you'll stop wasting time waiting for someone else to save you. You'll stop giving away your power. You'll take it back. You'll remind yourself every single morning, this is my responsibility. The world doesn't reward excuses. It rewards ownership. It rewards the people who step up even when nobody claps. And if you want respect, if you want results, if you want a future you're proud of, it starts here. Say it clearly. No one else will do it for me. I will. Every day you wake up, you're given a clean slate. But a clean slate means nothing if you don't learn from yesterday. Yesterday isn't gone just because the sun came up today. Yesterday leaves behind lessons. It leaves behind patterns. It leaves behind mistakes and momentum. And if you don't face them, you'll repeat them. Most people try to erase yesterday by ignoring it. They pretend the bad choices didn't happen. They rush into today hoping the problems will disappear. But problems don't disappear. They repeat. And avoiding yesterday guarantees you'll live the same day over and over again. The only way to grow is to face it. To look at yesterday honestly and decide what needs to be fixed right now. Not later. Not next week. Now, this isn't about guilt. Guilt keeps you stuck. This is about responsibility. Responsibility moves you forward. The habit is simple but powerful. Each morning, take a few minutes to reflect on the day before. Ask yourself, what did I avoid yesterday? Where did I waste time? What did I do that I already knew wasn't right? Did I speak out of anger? Did I delay what mattered? Did I break my own promise? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they're necessary. Because if you can't reflect, you can't improve. And if you can't improve, you stay stuck in cycles of frustration. Look, one mistake won't ruin your life, but one mistake repeated daily becomes a pattern. And a pattern becomes your identity. That's why reflection matters. Not to punish yourself, but to catch the small things before they grow into big things. If you wasted time yesterday, fix it today. If you skipped your workout, don't skip it now. If you avoided the hard conversation, have it today. This is how you build momentum. Not by being perfect, but by refusing to let the same mistake repeat twice. And don't just look at what went wrong. Look at what went right. What did you do yesterday that worked? What gave you energy? What moved you forward? Don't ignore that. Double it. Repeat it. Build on it. This reflection builds self-trust. Because when you start each morning by facing your own truth, you prove to yourself that you're paying attention. Nothing about it. So don't run from yesterday. Don't hide from it. Don't bury it under excuses. Face it. Fix what needs fixing. Repeat what worked. Adjust, correct, grow. That's how real progress is made. Every morning you have a chance to rise stronger than before. But only if you're willing to look at yesterday and do something different today. That's not guilt. That's growth. That's ownership. That's how lives transform. Not by waiting, but by correcting, by improving, by facing yourself with honesty. Most people have goals, but very few ever breathe life into them. They keep their dreams locked inside their head or written on some piece of paper they never look at again. They treat their goals like quiet secrets, hopes they wish would magically come true if the timing is right. But goals don't become reality through silence. They become reality through conviction. And conviction begins with your voice. If you want to transform a goal from a vague idea into a real direction, you need to say it out loud. Not once. Not weekly. Not like a maybe. Every single morning, with strength, with energy, with intention. You need to speak your goal like you mean it. Why does this matter? Because your mind listens to you. It listens to your tone. It listens to your words. If you whisper your goals with hesitation, your brain treats them as optional. But when you speak them with power, your brain treats them as commands. It shifts how you think, how you act, and how you carry yourself. Don't say, I want to get in shape. Say, I will master discipline over my body. Don't say, I hope I succeed. Say, I am building success every single day. That difference in language may seem small, but it changes everything. Because words aren't just noise, they're direction. They're mental orders. Think about how often you speak negativity into your life. You say things like, I'm tired. I can't do this. Nothing works out for me. And you say them with full conviction, as if they're facts. And guess what? They become your reality. Now imagine flipping that. Imagine replacing those sentences with your actual goals, spoken with the same energy, the same belief. Imagine waking up and declaring, I will finish this project. I will stick to my routine. I will grow no matter how I feel. That's not fake positivity. That's intention. That's leadership. That's ownership of your own mind. When you say your goal out loud, you're not asking the world for permission. You're reminding yourself of what you've already decided. You're programming your mind before the doubts, distractions, and noise have a chance to get in. You're locking in your commitment before the day tries to shake it. This habit takes 30 seconds. That's it. 30 seconds of speaking with strength. But those 30 seconds can rewire the next 16 hours of your day. And consistency is the secret. You can't say it once and forget it. You need to make it a ritual. Just like brushing your teeth, just like drinking water, you make speaking your goal out loud a non-negotiable. That repetition builds identity. And identity drives behavior. The more you say it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you act like it. The more you act like it, the more real it becomes. And don't keep it polite. Don't whisper it under your breath like you're embarrassed. Say it like it's already happening. Say it like it's non-negotiable. Say it like the person who is already doing the work. This isn't about impressing anyone else. Nobody else has to hear it. This is between you and you. But your brain needs to hear your own voice speaking certainty instead of doubt. Some people avoid this because they're afraid of failing. They think saying their goal out loud makes them vulnerable. But hiding from it makes you weaker. The more you avoid speaking it, the more you reinforce the fear. But the more you declare it, the more normal it becomes. And once it's normal, it stops being scary. Even on the hard days, especially on the hard days, you need to speak it, because that's when doubt is loudest. That's when hesitation is strongest. And that's when your words matter most. So tomorrow morning, stand up, take a deep breath, and declare it. Loud enough for your brain to hear, strong enough for your body to feel, clear enough for your focus to lock in. That's how you turn goals from dreams into direction. Not by keeping them quiet, but by speaking them boldly every single morning until your actions and your words finally match. You're awake, but you're not ready. Your eyes may be open, but your mind is still foggy, still somewhere between sleep and responsibility. And if you step into the day like that, half asleep, half aware, you're already behind. That's why one of the most underrated but powerful habits you can build every morning is simple. Wash your face. Sounds basic, but it's not just about hygiene. It's about waking yourself up fully. It's about signaling to your brain and your body. The day is here, and I'm showing up for it. When cold water hits your skin, something shifts. It's not just the shock of the temperature. It's a reset. It's a jolt of awareness. It's a reminder that comfort is over and responsibility has begun. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause until you feel motivated. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're distracted, if you're hesitant. Life keeps moving. And if you don't snap yourself awake, if you don't shake off the fog, you'll stumble through your day reactive and unfocused. Washing your face in the morning is like drawing a line between sleep and action, between drifting and leading, between avoidance and presence. It's a ritual that grounds you. When you stand at the sink, splash cold water on your face, breathe deep, and look yourself in the mirror, you're not just cleaning, you're confronting. You're saying, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm responsible, I'm ready to deal with whatever comes. And don't rush through it mindlessly. Be present. Feel the water. Let it wake you. Use it as your signal that today is real. Today is yours. Today is not going to be wasted. This small act builds a mindset that says, I don't wait to feel ready, I train myself to be ready. I don't drift into the day half asleep. I step into it fully awake. Most people don't lose the day because of big mistakes. They lose it because they never really wake up. They carry sleep into their work, into their relationships, into their choices. They operate at half energy. And then they wonder why everything feels heavy. But when you start with presence, with clarity, with a sharp mind, you set a completely different tone. You build momentum before the noise arrives. You ground yourself before the world tests you. It's not about being perfect. It's not about solving all your problems in one morning. It's about preparing yourself to face them head-on instead of hiding from them. So tomorrow morning, when you get up, don't drift. Walk to the sink. Wash your face. Look yourself in the eyes and decide, I'm not hiding today. I'm not avoiding. I'm here, I'm ready, and I'll face whatever comes. That's not just a habit. That's a declaration. A declaration that you're choosing awareness over escape, presence over delay, responsibility over comfort. And when you build that habit into your mornings, you'll stop being surprised by life. You'll stop being thrown off by challenges. Because you'll already be awake. You'll already be ready. That's the difference between drifting through life and leading your life. One splash of water. One moment of clarity. One grounded decision to face the day fully alive. Before you leave your house, before you step into the noise of the world, there's one thing you need to do. It's not grabbing your phone, not finding your keys, not checking your messages. It's something deeper, something that shapes how everything else will unfold. Check your attitude. Your attitude is the filter through which you see the entire day. Walk out the door frustrated, and everything feels heavier. Walk out the door anxious, and everything feels chaotic. Walk out bitter, and even small problems feel like mountains. But walk out calm, focused, grounded, and you turn chaos into challenges, problems into puzzles, setbacks into lessons. Most people don't even realize they have a choice. They roll out of bed already carrying yesterday's weight. They bring yesterday's anger, yesterday's stress, yesterday's negativity into a brand new day. And then they wonder why life feels repetitive, why nothing changes. But it wasn't the world, it was the attitude they carried out the door. Your morning routine isn't just about your body. It's about your state of mind. The way you carry yourself into the world determines how the world responds to you. If you walk into conversations impatient, you'll get conflict. If you walk into work scattered, you'll make sloppy decisions. If you walk into the day defensive, you'll attract resistance. That's why you must pause before leaving and ask yourself, how am I carrying myself right now? Am I calm or chaotic? Am I focused or distracted? Am I leading or just reacting? Don't lie to yourself. If you're stressed, admit it. If you're bitter, face it. If you're tense, acknowledge it. Pretending doesn't change anything. Ownership does. And here's the key. Once you acknowledge your attitude, ask the real question. Is this the state I want to bring with me? If the answer is no, then shift it. Not by faking a smile, not by forcing fake positivity, but by realigning yourself with purpose. Take a breath. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Reset before you step outside. Because the world doesn't care about your excuses. It responds to your energy. If you bring drama, you'll create drama. If you bring solutions, you'll create progress. If you bring clarity, you'll create opportunity. This doesn't take hours. It takes minutes, sometimes even seconds. Stand still, check yourself, reset. That's discipline. That's leadership. That's maturity. The people who rise in life aren't the ones with perfect conditions. They're the ones who prepare themselves before conditions test them. They don't let circumstances dictate their mood. They decide their mood before circumstances even show up. Your attitude is your responsibility. Every single morning, before you leave the house, choose it. Because once you step into the world will test it. And if you haven't checked it, the world will shape it for you, and usually not in the way you want. So tomorrow morning, before you open the door, ask yourself, am I walking out with clarity or chaos? Am I bringing tension or focus? Am I carrying stress or purpose? Choose wisely, because that choice sets the tone for everything that follows. The truth is simple. If you don't take control of your morning, the day will take control of you. The moment you wake up, the world starts pulling messages, tasks, responsibilities, distractions, endless demands on your attention. And if you don't act first, you'll spend the whole day reacting. That's why one of the strongest morning habits you can ever build is this: do one hard thing before the day controls you. Not later. Not when you feel like it. Not when things calm down. First, before the world steals your focus. It doesn't have to be extreme. It just has to be intentional. Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's writing a page you've been avoiding. Maybe it's making the difficult phone call. Maybe it's tackling the project that scares you. Maybe it's simply sitting in silence when your instinct is to scroll. Whatever it is, it needs to stretch you. It needs to challenge you. It needs to build pride, not just relief. Because here's the truth. Comfort is everywhere. Comfort is in your bed. Comfort is in your phone. Comfort is in the excuses you've repeated so many times they feel automatic. And if you let comfort run your mornings, it will run your life. Doing something hard first thing in the morning is how you break that cycle. It's how you prove to yourself that discipline comes before distraction, that action comes before reaction. When you do one hard thing early, something shifts inside you. You stop dragging yourself through the day and start directing it. You stop hoping for motivation and start building momentum. You stop letting the world decide your pace and start setting it yourself. And this is the secret. Your willpower is strongest in the morning. Your focus is clearest. Your mind is sharpest. If you waste that window on easy things, you lose your best chance at growth. But if you use it for something difficult, you multiply your strength for the rest of the day. It's not about perfection. Some mornings you'll feel heavy, tired, unmotivated. But that's exactly why this habit matters. Because discipline is not built when you feel like it. It's built when you don't, and you do it anyway. One hard thing early does more than build progress. It builds identity. It anchors you to the version of yourself that shows up, not the version that delays. It builds self-trust because every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that your word matters. That you don't just talk, you act. And here's the best part. It compounds. The more mornings you start this way, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined throughout the day. You face resistance early, and you're prepared for resistance later. You start strong, and you carry that strength with you. The people who drift through life are the ones who avoid effort until it's forced on them. The people who rise are the ones who do the hard thing before life has the chance to push them. So tomorrow morning, choose one. Don't wait. Don't negotiate. Don't let your excuses win the first round. Stand up, face the challenge, and do one hard thing before the day controls you. Because if you don't control your morning, you'll spend the rest of the day being controlled. But if you lead first, the day follows your command. That's how strong lives are built. Not in luck, not in waiting, but in one hard decision made every morning. The first hour of your morning is the foundation of your entire day. Yet most people give it away like it's worthless. They hand it over to notifications, emails, gossip, scrolling, noise, everything except what actually builds them. They waste the most powerful window of their day, and then they wonder why they stay stuck in cycles of distraction and frustration. The first hour is when your mind is clearest. It's when your energy is fresh. It's when your willpower is at its peak. If you don't protect it, you weaken yourself before the day even begins. If you let the world own your first hour, the world will own your direction. High performers know this. They don't let random distractions dictate their start. They build rituals. They create structure. They decide, this first hour belongs to me, not the world. And what you do in that first hour echoes through the next 16. If you spend it scrolling, you train your brain to react. If you spend it avoiding, you train your brain to delay. But if you spend it on intention, movement, reflection, clarity, you train your brain to lead. Guard that first hour like it's sacred. Because it is. Decide in advance. What will you allow into it? What will you not allow? Be ruthless. If it doesn't build you, if it doesn't ground you, if it doesn't sharpen you, keep it out. That's how you stop living on autopilot. That's how you stop drifting. That's how you take control of your life one morning at a time. The biggest mistake people make is thinking transformation requires massive changes all at once. They think they need to overhaul their entire life in one giant leap. But growth doesn't work that way. Growth works through momentum. And momentum is built from small wins stacked daily. Your morning is the perfect place to build those wins. Why? Because it's predictable. It's within your control. It's repeatable every single day. And those small wins don't just improve your morning, they rewire your identity. Think about it. When you drink a glass of water instead of reaching for your phone, that's a win. When you make your bed, that's a win. When you journal, when you move your body, when you read something valuable, those are all wins. Small, yes, but powerful. Each win sends a message to your subconscious. I'm the kind of person who shows up. I'm the kind of person who follows through. I'm the kind of person who takes control. And over time, those messages reshape how you see yourself. Confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from small victories that prove your word matters. And your morning is your daily opportunity to collect those victories. Don't underestimate them. Don't dismiss them as too small. They are the bricks of discipline. And discipline is what builds everything else. Let's be brutally honest. The snooze button is not harmless. It's not just 5 more minutes. It's a training ground for weakness. Every time you hit snooze, you're practicing delay. You're teaching yourself to break promises. You're telling your brain, comfort is more important than growth. And that decision doesn't stay on your pillow. It follows you. If you delay waking up, you delay working out. If you delay working out, you delay your plan. If you delay your plan, you delay your progress. Suddenly, your entire day is a chain reaction of hesitation. People wonder why they procrastinate all day. The answer is simple. They practice procrastination the moment they open their eyes. Killing the snooze button isn't about waking up early just to be productive. It's about training yourself to move on command. It's about proving to yourself first thing that you do what you said you'd do. It's about building trust. That's why the strongest people don't negotiate with the alarm. They don't debate with themselves in the dark. They decide the night before, and when the alarm rings, they move. No delay, no bargaining, no weakness, because the first battle of the day is not against the world. It's against the snooze button. Win that battle and you set the tone to win the rest. Feelings are liars. If you let them, they will keep you in bed. They will tell you you're too tired, too stressed, too unmotivated to move. They will whisper excuses disguised as truth. And if you let feelings control your mornings, they will control your life. Discipline begins when you stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start saying, "I do it because it's who I am." You won't always feel like standing up. You won't always feel like journaling. You won't always feel like exercising, reading, or reflecting. That's normal. That's human. But discipline means you move anyway. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel ready. But feelings are not the driver. They're the passenger. Action is the driver. Movement creates energy. Momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Stop letting your mornings be controlled by emotions that shift every day. Build them on actions that stay consistent no matter how you feel. That's how you create a foundation stronger than moods. That's how you build a life that doesn't collapse every time your feelings change. Here's the truth. Willpower is limited. The more decisions you make, the weaker it gets. That's why the strongest morning routines aren't about motivation. They're about design. If you leave too many choices in the morning, you'll waste energy debating with yourself. Should I get up now or later? Should I check my phone or not? Should I work out or s? Takali. Lay out your clothes. Put your notebook on the table. Place your phone across the room. Fill your water bottle and set it by your bed. Make it easier to follow through than to delay. When you design your mornings this way, you eliminate friction. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop depending on fragile willpower. You create a system where discipline becomes automatic. And that's the goal, not to wake up every day and fight the same battles endlessly, but to design your mornings so you win them without effort. Most people treat their morning as a checklist. Wake up, shower, eat, leave. That's survival, not transformation. If you want your life to change, you need to understand that mornings are not just about tasks. They are about identity. Every action you take in those first hours is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. When you stand up at the alarm, you're voting for discipline. When you skip snooze, you're voting for strength. When you journal, you're voting for honesty. When you work out, you're voting for resilience. These actions are not random. They are identity training. They are microproofs of who you say you are. And the more votes you cast, the stronger your identity becomes. Identity is what carries you when motivation fades. Because when something is part of who you are, you don't have to think about it, you just live it. You don't debate whether to brush your teeth. You don't negotiate whether to eat. It's automatic. That's the level you need to reach with discipline. So stop thinking of your morning routine as chores. Start thinking of it as character building. Start seeing every decision as a chance to prove, I am the person I said I would be. The world is loud. Everywhere you turn, there's distraction. Messages, headlines, opinions, arguments, endless noise demanding your attention. And if you don't create silence for yourself, the world will drown you. Mornings are your chance to fight back. To sit in quiet. To listen to your own voice before the world shouts over it. This silence isn't weakness. It's power. Because silence gives you clarity. Silence allows you to think, to breathe, to plan, to connect with yourself. Silence is where the best decisions are made. Most people avoid silence because they're afraid of what they'll hear. They don't want to face their thoughts, their regrets, their doubts. But avoiding silence doesn't erase those things. It just keeps them hidden, and hidden problems grow stronger. When you choose silence in the morning, you're choosing truth. You're choosing clarity over confusion. You're choosing leadership over reaction. And the more you practice it, the more grounded you become. Even 5 minutes of silence can change your day. 5 minutes of breathing, of sitting still, of letting your mind settle. That one habit can make you sharper, calmer, more resilient. If you want to rise above the noise, you need to master silence first. You don't need to be an athlete. You don't need to spend 2 hours in the gym. But you do need to move. Because motion is medicine, not just for your body, but for your mind. When you move in the morning, stretching, walking, exercising, you're not just training muscles. You're training your state. You're shaking off fatigue, sharpening focus, fueling energy. You're sending a message. We are not stagnant today, we are moving forward. Most people underestimate this. They think movement is optional. But your mind and your body are connected. If your body stays lazy, your thoughts follow. If your body starts moving, your thoughts sharpen. That's why some of the clearest ideas come during exercise. That's why stress drops after movement. That's why discipline feels stronger when your body is active. It's not about how long. It's about consistency. 10 minutes of movement is better than an hour of excuses. The point isn't perfection. The point is proving that your body follows your command. Move your body and your mind will follow. Here's a truth most people miss. Your mornings don't start in the morning. They start the night before. If you stay up too late, if you binge distractions, if you leave your environment messy, you're setting yourself up for failure before the day even begins. You're sabotaging your own momentum. Winning the morning is about preparation. Go to bed on time. Put your phone across the room. Lay out your clothes. Write down your top priority for tomorrow. These simple acts are not small, they're weapons. They remove friction. They make winning automatic. The strongest routines are not built on random bursts of motivation. They are built on systems. Systems that start the night before and carry into the morning. So don't just think about how to wake up better. Think about how to set yourself up before you even close your eyes. Because discipline doesn't begin with the alarm, it begins with preparation. Drift is the enemy. Drift is what happens when you wake up without intention, when you let the day pull you instead of you pulling it. Drift feels harmless, but it's deadly, because drift steals weeks, months, years of your life without you even realizing it. Drift is when you say, I'll start later. Drift is when you check your phone and lose 45 minutes. Drift is when you wander through the morning without clarity, without focus, without urgency. The opposite of drift is direction. And direction starts with how you begin your day. If you want to stop drifting through life, you have to stop drifting through mornings. You have to start with clear decisions, intentional actions, and disciplined rituals. Because here's the truth. Life is not lost in big failures. It's lost in small delays. And nothing creates small delays like a drifting morning. So protect it. Guard it. Refuse to hand it over to distractions. Refuse to waste it on autopilot. Refuse to let drift decide your future. Win your mornings and drift disappears, because direction becomes your default. At the core of every disciplined morning is not just routine, it's respect. Respect for your time. Respect for your future. Respect for yourself. When you say you'll wake up early and don't, you're not just losing sleep, you're breaking a promise. And every broken promise chips away at your self-respect. Most people don't even realize that their lack of confidence doesn't come from outside criticism. It comes from the quiet lies they tell themselves every morning. Confidence is built when your actions align with your word. When you say, I'll get up at 6, and you actually do, something powerful happens inside. You trust yourself. You respect yourself. And that self-respect becomes the foundation for every other part of your life. That's why mornings are not just about productivity. They're about integrity. Every choice you make is either proof that you respect yourself or proof that you don't. So tomorrow, when your alarm goes off, remember this. The decision you make in that moment isn't about sleep. It's about self-respect. And once you frame it that way, hesitation disappears. Because no amount of comfort is worth losing trust in yourself. Most people think emotions are random, that they wake up and just feel a certain way. But here's the truth. Your emotional tone for the entire day is heavily shaped by your morning. If you start slow, scattered, reactive, you'll feel anxious and rushed all day. If you start disciplined, intentional, grounded, you'll carry calm strength into everything you do. Your morning is emotional training. When you sit in silence, you're training calm. When you write your thoughts, you're training honesty. When you move your body, you're training energy. When you face discomfort early, you're training resilience. It's not about controlling every feeling. It's about setting a tone. A tone that says, I lead my emotions, they don't lead me. And this is critical because life will test you. People will frustrate you. Plans will fall apart. Pressure will come. But if you've already anchored your emotions in the morning, those storms won't throw you off as easily. You'll respond with clarity instead of chaos. Your emotional control is not built in the middle of the storm. It's built in the stillness of your morning. Growth is not about adding more comfort to your life. Growth is about facing the truths you've been avoiding. And your morning is the perfect time to practice this. Every day, choose one uncomfortable truth to face. Maybe it's the fact that you've been wasting time. Maybe it's the habit you need to break. Maybe it's the fear you keep running from. Maybe it's the conversation you keep avoiding. Write it down. Say it out loud. Confront it. Don't push it away. Because the more you hide from truth, the heavier it becomes. And the longer you carry it, the more it drains your energy. Facing one uncomfortable truth in the morning lightens your load. It gives you direction. It gives you clarity. It builds courage. Weakness hides. Strength confronts. And if you want to build strength, you need to train yourself to face something uncomfortable every single morning. It doesn't mean solving it immediately. It means acknowledging it. It means saying, I see this. I won't pretend it's not there. And I will take steps toward fixing it. Do this daily, and you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop running from your life. You'll start facing it. And when you face your life, you take back control. Here's a trap many people fall into. They over-engineer their mornings. They try to create the perfect routine. Wake up at 5 o'clock, meditate for 20 minutes, read for 30, write for 15, run 5 miles, eat the perfect meal, stretch, plan, all before sunrise. But here's the problem. When you make your mornings too complicated, you don't stick to them. You skip one thing and feel like you've failed. And once you feel like you've failed, you throw the whole routine away. Perfection kills consistency. What you really need is momentum. You need a structure that is simple enough to repeat every day, but strong enough to move you forward. Even 3 or 4 intentional actions done consistently will transform your life. So don't obsess over perfection. Focus on momentum. Focus on stacking small wins that make you feel stronger, clearer, more disciplined. The point of a morning routine isn't to look impressive. It's to create movement. And once you have momentum, everything else becomes easier. Motivation rises. Confidence grows. Action compounds. Momentum is greater than perfection. Always. Here's the final mistake people make. They think the point of a morning routine is to get instant results. More money, more success, more opportunities. But that's not how it works. The real purpose of your mornings is to shape who you are becoming. You don't journal because writing magically fixes your problems. You journal because it makes you more self-aware. You don't move your body because one workout changes your life. You move because it proves you can do hard things. You don't wake up early because the world rewards early risers. You wake up early because it builds respect for your own word. Mornings are not about outcomes, they're about identity. And when you change your identity, the outcomes eventually follow. That's why people who master their mornings become unstoppable. Not because mornings are magical, but because they are consistent identity training. They are daily proof of discipline, clarity, and strength. And when you stack that proof every single day, you don't just get results. You become the kind of person who creates results naturally. It's easy to think a morning routine is just about structure, about boxes checked off before the day begins. But the deeper truth is this. Every disciplined morning is resilience training. It's not about what you do, it's about who you become while doing it. When you get up on time, even when you're exhausted, you're not just beating the alarm, you're training yourself to move when life is hard. When you sit in silence, Even when your mind is restless, you're not just meditating, you're training yourself to find calm in chaos. When you do one hard thing before the day takes over, you're not just being productive, you're building the muscle of persistence that will carry you through storms. Resilience is built in small acts of discipline before anyone else is awake. It's not flashy, it's not public, but it's what gives you strength when life blindsides you. Most people break down under pressure because they've never trained for it. They let comfort shape their mornings, and then wonder why discomfort breaks them later. But the ones who master their mornings, they're prepared. They're unshaken. They've trained daily to endure and overcome. That's the hidden purpose of mornings. They don't just prepare you for today, they prepare you for life. Every life has cycles, patterns that repeat, habits that loop, and most of those cycles are invisible. You procrastinate once, then again, and before you know it, it's a lifestyle. You skip one workout, then two, and before you know it, fitness feels impossible. If you don't interrupt cycles, they own you. That's why mornings are so powerful. They're the reset button. They're the one moment of the day when you can stop old cycles and create new ones. Every morning you choose, will I repeat yesterday, or will I redirect today? That's the moment of power most people waste. They wake up and let yesterday's mistakes roll into today. But if you take 5 minutes to review and reset in the morning, you can break the cycle before it hardens. Think about it. If you broke just one destructive cycle in the morning, every day, how different would your life look a year from now? Cycles don't break by accident. They break when you choose to confront them at the start of your day. Your standards aren't written in your goals. They're written in your mornings. If you wake up late, hit snooze, scroll your phone, avoid discomfort, you're silently telling yourself, my standard is low. If you wake up on time, take control, focus, and move, you're telling yourself, my standard is high. It doesn't matter what you post online. It doesn't matter what you tell other people. Your true standards are revealed in the quiet of your morning when nobody is watching. That's why mornings matter so much. They're the most honest reflection of who you are. Not your intentions, not your dreams, your standards. And once you raise your morning standards, everything else follows. Your work improves. Your relationships strengthen. Your discipline grows. Because the person who demands more from themselves in the morning naturally demands more in every area of life. Life is unpredictable. No matter how well you plan, chaos will come. Deadlines shift. Problems appear. People disappoint you. Stress piles up. You cannot control everything outside of you, but you can control your anchor. And that anchor is your morning. When the world feels uncertain, your morning is the piece of stability that never changes. It's the daily structure that grounds you no matter how chaotic everything else becomes. Think about it, if you wake up and go straight into reacting, you're at the mercy of chaos. But if you wake up and follow a routine you control, you carry stability into the storm. You carry order into disorder. You carry strength into weakness. Your morning doesn't eliminate chaos, but it keeps you from being swallowed by it. It reminds you that while you can't control everything, you can always control how you begin. And sometimes that's enough to carry you through. Here's the truth. One morning won't change your life, but one morning repeated every day will. That's the compound effect. Small, consistent actions stack daily until they create massive transformation. The same way money grows with interest, discipline grows with repetition. Wake up on time once, it's a good day. Wake up on time every day, it's a new identity. Write your thoughts once, it feels nice. Write them every day, it makes you self-aware. Do one hard thing once, you feel proud. Do one hard thing every morning, you become unstoppable. The results aren't immediate. They're invisible at first. But over weeks, months, years, they build a life that looks unrecognizable from where you started. That's why so many people fail. They quit too early. They want instant change. But mornings don't give instant results, they give compounding results. And those are the ones that actually last. So don't chase perfect mornings. Chase consistent ones. Don't chase overnight transformation. Chase daily alignment. Because in the end, the mornings you repeat will build the life you live. At this point, you've seen the truth. Mornings are not about hype. not about temporary motivation, not about checking boxes. They are your system, a system that either pulls you forward or drags you back. Think about it. Every business, every empire, every successful mission in history was built on systems. Systems create consistency. Systems reduce chaos. Systems produce results, even when the people inside them feel tired, distracted, or weak. Your life works the same way. Without a system, you rely on feelings. Without a system, you live on random bursts of motivation. Without a system, you drift. But with a morning system, one you follow daily, you no longer depend on moods or chance. You wake up and move with structure. You wake up and act with clarity. You wake up and lead yourself instead of being pulled by the world. Your mornings are the system that determines who you become. That's why you must protect them, build them, and repeat them until they become unshakable. It's tempting to say, "I'll start later." It's tempting to believe you can wake up sloppy and still win in life. But here's the truth most people avoid. Ignoring your mornings costs you more than sleep, costs you years. Every day you wake up without intention, you lose momentum. Every morning you let drift control you, you delay your growth. And these delays are not small. They compound. They accumulate. Until one day, you look back and realize you've wasted decades living the same cycle. This is the silent danger. Nobody warns you about it. Nobody sees it happening. But it's real. Because mornings are not neutral, they either build you or break you. And if you keep wasting them, you are quietly training yourself to waste your life. That's the cost of ignoring mornings. Not just tired days, but a future you regret. Here's the real magic. Mornings are where identity shifts begin. You don't become disciplined by wishing for it. You become disciplined by waking up on time when you don't feel like it. You don't become strong by talking about it. You become strong by facing discomfort first thing in the morning. You don't become clear-minded by hoping for it. You become clear-minded by creating silence before the noise hits. The identity shift doesn't happen in grand moments. It happens in small, invisible choices made every single morning. That's where the weaker version of you dies, and the stronger version takes its place. That's why mornings matter. Not because they impress anyone else, but because they silently transform who you are. The problem with most routines is they depend too much on discipline. Discipline is powerful, but it's not infinite. That's why the best way to guarantee success is to build mornings you cannot escape. What does that mean? It means designing your environment so following through is automatic. Put your alarm across the room. Lay out you do instead of something you debate. The people who succeed long-term are not the ones with the most willpower. They're the ones who design their lives so following through is the only option. That's the kind of morning you need to build. Let's strip it down to the simplest truth. 1 hour a day can change your life. 60 minutes of clarity, discipline, and focus every morning is enough to transform your identity, your mindset, your direction. 1 hour may not sound like much, but compounded over years, it creates a life most people will never touch. That's why you can't treat your mornings as random. That's why you can't keep wasting them. Because that 1 hour is not just another hour. It's the foundation of your future. 1 hour to move your body. 1 hour to clear your mind. 1 hour to strengthen your spirit. It's not a lot, but it's everything. Because it proves that you run your day instead of your day running you. 1 hour a day, every day for the rest of your life. That's the secret. That's the difference. That's the edge. When people ask, how do I change my life? The answer is simple. Change your mornings. Because mornings are the most honest mirror of who you are. They reveal your standards. They expose your habits. They decide your tone. If you win them, you win your day. If you win enough days, you win your life. No hacks. No shortcuts. No secrets. Just one clear truth. Your future is written in how you spend the first hour of your morning. So tomorrow, when the alarm rings, remember this. That moment is not small. That moment is your life. And what you choose then will echo through every choice after. Win your morning and you'll win everything else.